Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Rachna's classes. Well, let us begin with one of the most famous poems and written by an equally famous poet. The poem is Where the Mind is Without Fear. And of course, the poet is none other than our own Rabindranath Tagore. He is also known as the Bard of Bengal. And children, this particular poem is one of the extracts from his famous collection of poems called as Gitanjali, and the poem number is 35. Well, before we can go any further into this poem, let us know a little about Rabindranath Tagore. Well, children, Rabindranath Tagore, also known by his pen name Bhanu Singha Thakur, and also known as his as Gurudev, Kabi Guru, and Beswa Kabi. He was a Bengali poet, writer, music composer, and also a painter, of course, from our Indian subcontinent. He was born in Kolkata on the 7th of May 1861, and he died on 7th of August 1941. Children, he has various artworks like the Dancing Woman, Woman's Face, and so on and so forth, and of course his poems like Gitanjali, Chitu Jeta, and many more. Well, children, he was actually from a Brahmo family of Bengal, and because Tagore, his poetic songs were viewed as spiritual and mercurial. However, his elegant prose and magical poetry remain largely known outside Bengal. You see, we cannot restrict him to only and only India or only within Bengal. He was a very well-known and a renowned person throughout the world, and he is therefore sometimes also referred to as the Bard of Bengal. Okay, as we go ahead, more and more deeper into the poem, and as and when you get to know more about him, that is when you will get to know that why do I say that he was very well known all across the world. He was very well known outside India as well. Okay, so of course he also moved into Shanti Niketan, and as we get to know more about it, you will find out that most of his writings, because he was from pre-independence India, you'll find out that his writings had a lot to do with what he felt spiritually, what he felt as a patriot, and so on and so forth. Right? Well, anyways, the more deeper that we get into him, the more we find out that anything is too less for him. Right? So Tagore, he modernized Bengali art by spurning rigid classical forms and resisting linguistic strictures. Right? And he was into dance, drama, essays, and his topics were political and personal as well, apart from being something that is meant for his own country, right? And of course, you must have come to know that he also wrote our national anthem. But children, did you know that he also wrote the Bangladesh's national anthem and also the Sri Lankan national anthem, right? Well, he was a Nobel Prize winner as well in the year 1913 for literature. And as I said, that he is also a very renowned painter other than a poet, right? So let us get to know about our poem, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. This is a lovely poem, and trust me, it's one of my favorites, right? Well, the poem number 35, entitled Where the Mind is Without Fear, is a well-known poem of Rabindranath Tagore. It is an extract from his world-famous collection of poems entitled Gitanjali, which earned for him universal applause, along with the Nobel Prize in 1913. It was written in pre-independence India in the days of slavery. The poem expresses his high ideals of independence. Well, the poet has visualized the picture of freedom that had cherished for his motherland, along with political freedom. He desired that Indians should also get spiritual freedom, which would mean real freedom from fear, prejudice, and orthodoxy. He prays to God that India may become a place where knowledge is shared by all freely. Well, children, I have purposely put across this, a manuscript for you over here. Well, so let us see where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its ways into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led by thee into ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom. Father, let my country awake. Well, now let's understand this poem a little deeper. See, children, one can just think that, oh, it's a very small poem and what is so great about it? But please understand that he wrote it at a time when India was not yet free, right? So let's understand bit by bit about this, okay? Without fear is dauntless. The head is held high means feeling honored, okay? Then we can say where knowledge is free means that nobody should be deprived of education on grounds of poverty, greed, caste or sex, okay? Then here education is knowledge, and here it doesn't mean just bookish knowledge, okay? Where the world is not divided into narrow domestic walls means that petty considerations of nationality, caste and creed should not be divided by the people, okay? And then fragments means small, you see, like small units, we can say, okay? Narrow means which is not very broad, that is even your broad-mindedness, okay? You should not be very narrow-minded. Domestic walls, of course, is considered to be within your country, within the caste, within the religion, within the community, okay? Depth of truth is based on truth, and when we say tireless, it is consistent. or it's constant. Okay, striving here would mean attempting to do something. Stretches would mean spreads forward. Perfection, of course, as we all know, is faultiness. Streams of reason is your faculty of using your reasoning power. Okay? Then dead habit would mean like blind customs. Like we are all, even today we find that our country's got, very blind customs and traditions. Okay? Of course, he doesn't mean that you give up all your traditions and your customs, but something which is blind, which is like you're just following it for the sake of following it. Like for example, you say that you need to give we say like you have to give bali, right? I'd rather use the word bali over here. So he means that you're not supposed to go into this kind of tradition where the other one is being harmed. Okay, be it an animal or be it a human. Then dreary habit, right? That is, when I say dreary habit, I mean dreary desert, sands of habit, dead habit, right? It means antique and outdated customs and traditions. We must not get into that. Okay. Now, well, here the poet, let me just make it more understood to you. He means to say that he wants the countrymen to be fearless. They should rise their heads with pride and dignity before our countries, before other countries of the world. He expects free education to all the people. He exhorts upon his countrymen to rise above the line of narrowness and petty differences of caste, creed, and color, etc. For complete unity, integrity, and solidarity. He says that they should always speak the truth. They should be very hardworking for the attainment of their goals. Okay? They should depend more on reason and less on outdated traditions, conservations, and prejudices. Okay? So, now let's understand a little more about this poem. Okay? Well, here, as I said, that the poet expresses his high ideals of independence. He makes a call. This is basically a call to Indians to cast off their shackles of bondage, right? He describes the ideal kind of people in his imagination. The poet wishes his people to be free, frank, fearless, dynamic, and broad-minded and broad-hearted. Okay, so, well, let's understand a little more of this explanation. The poet presents his conception of true freedom. He says that his people should have freedom of thought, their minds should be free from fear, they should hold their heads high with pride, right? They should live with dignity. His countrymen should acquire education. They should be not restricted to a little bit of knowledge. Just I'd rather say that the knowledge should not be restricted. Okay. He should be imparted to all without any discrimination. That is, knowledge should be imparted to all without any discrimination of caste, creed, culture. Okay? There should be no factionalism in his country. The people must rise above the narrow considerations of caste, religion, or community. The people of his country should remain one, forgetting all about the petty differences, like who are you and so on and so forth. Hmm? His countrymen should be truthful and sincere. They should make and fulfill their promises sincerely. They should be hard working, and they should persevere constantly to achieve perfection. Okay? Well, the stream of reason should not be lost in the desert of old traditions and customs. Why he is comparing it to the desert? Because the desert never gets water and you don't find anything growing there. So if you are basically stuck into old traditions and customs, you wouldn't be growing, right? That is, the people should be guided and reasoned. They should not be blindly following old customs and traditions, and they should be enlightened in their outlook and not orthodoxy. Okay? So what do we understand here? What is it that we would understand over here? We would understand that Rabindranath Tagore, he's stressing to get spiritual freedom along with political freedom. Okay? We can see his intense love for India and the Indian people. We can see that he's high and idle in imagination, and he's desiring a heaven-like country in India for the entire, the world would look up as India as a heaven. Okay? So, apart from this, children, we can see that this particular poem has, glimpses of metaphors and alliterations. Okay? Throughout the poem, at various places, you can see that there are glimpses of alliteration and metaphor. Okay? And you can find that his spiritual humanism over here. Alright? So, apart from this, what do we get to know? That we find in the second stanza, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. Okay? So here, led forward would mean motivated. By thee, I think many of you must have heard me often explaining thee, the word thee, thou, thus, right? So, by thee means by the help of God. Okay? Ever widening, that is ever growing onward. Alright? Heaven of freedom is happy state of being free. Okay? And we all know what heaven would mean. Heaven is a place where nobody, we believe the fact that heaven is a place where nobody is troubled. Yeah? My Father over here means our God, our Creator. Alright? Let my country awake would mean should get up from the sleep of slavery. Okay? Here we can understand that the poet is eagerly wishing that his countrymen should be thoughtful, wise and energetic. They must be up and doing, unmindful of the results. Okay? That is, the Indians, they are sleeping, they are lazy, but instead they should be up and around and doing the best for the country. Okay? He prays to God that his country should be up from the slumber of slavery into a blissful and heavenly atmosphere of freedom. Okay? So, what do we understand? Let's understand this a little more. That the poet prays to God that he should lead his countrymen to harmonious development. That is, that we can find harmony throughout our country, especially where development is concerned. He should guide them so that they have fair thoughts, and then they may turn in their thoughts into action. All right? They should be wise and powerful. His countrymen, he says that they are sleeping idly. They are not taking care. So that means that in that era, people were just, blindly following things. They were blindly, slaves. They were not trying, or they were not putting in too much of effort to become free or to bring bliss to their country. Okay? They are not awakened from the sleep of ignorance. So the poet prays to Father God to make his countrymen fully awakened. Okay? The poet stresses to get spiritual freedom, which is stable and permanent. So from this particular stanza, we can understand this. Then the poet's intense love for India and the Indian people, of course. We can see that. We can see his patriotic spirits. Glimpses of apostrophe is there in the last line. Okay? And then there is use of alliteration as well in this last stanza. So, children, I hope that you have understood this particular poem. We will do a little more about this when we go further. Children, let me tell you that Rabindranath Tagore had travelled to UK to, and over here I mean United Kingdom, to become a barrister, which is what his father wanted. But then he left all of it and he came back to India and joined the people to bring freedom to India. And he did a lot of it because of his writings. And children, anyone who knows Tagore's poems, which are there in Bengali, which are originally there in Bengali, they cannot be satisfied unless and until they don't go through the translations. And children, you can well understand that what a kind of prominent personality he was, with the fact that when you realize that it was Yeats, W.B. Yeats, who translated his poems, his works. Okay? So, well, let us understand that this entire thing is not just about Tagore. Okay? But the fact that none of his readings can be complete without him. Alright? Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Take very good care of yourself. Bye-bye.